What's up? This is Tiger Bucks on Fire. So I'm starting to hear more about trade rumors, and there are some guys that obviously have been targeted as movers, since the beginning of the season. Guys like J.J. Redick, Robert Covington, Chris Paul, Danilo Gallinari, maybe Kevin Love, guys like that, okay? And I'm starting to look at the different players that the Bucks would potentially have interest in and could maybe make a play for. I think, this is going to come. It always was going to come. They will be looking. I don't know if we have the assets, but we actually do. We do have, like John Horst, our GM, does actually have more assets, more pieces to move around than you think. Okay, we're a deep team. We have plenty of good players that could actually have appeal to other teams, and maybe an expiring contract or two or whatever. So, John Horst is proven to be a very creative wheeler and dealer. He's done it so far with Milwaukee. He has found ways to dump horrible contracts and get way more. Get way more from them than we thought. Like moving John Henson and Matthew Dellavedova in the same trade. Like, that was ridiculous. I don't know how he pulled that off. No Bucks fan thought we would come out that well. So far he's been brilliant with his trades, and I will not put it past him to make another big trade this season before the deadline. Right now, it's just trying to figure out what the options are and who would be the best fit. So I saw this article, and really, in my mind, out of all the guys that I'm thinking of that actually might be actually realistic and maybe not, because this guy might cost a lot. Like, there might be some major trade bargaining for this guy. It might happen with a few different players, but this guy specifically, it's Robert Covington. J.J. Redick, his contract might be too expensive for the Bucks, and I don't think he'd be quite as good of a fit. I think he would be he would be a really good fit. It'd be very interesting to have him and Kyle Korver on the team, two of the best three-point shooters in the NBA for a long time, I don't think J.J. Redick is still at the same level that he used to be, but he's still a really good shooter. It's the type of shooter he is, right? He runs around like Kyle Korver off of ball screens and just constantly moving to open space, catches and shoots. He is just an all-around great three-point shooter, jump shooter. He has all the tricks. He plays off ball, and he's a perfect complementary shooter. But it's Robert Covington, who's also a really good shooter and one of the league's elite defenders. Okay, Robert Covington has been elite on defense for years now as a small forward. Maybe he's probably like a 3-4. I think he's more. No, I think he is more of a 3. But he probably could play 4 too. Like, he could guard 2s and 3s, probably no problem. Probably even 1s if he has to. Maybe even 5s here and there if he gets switched onto them. But his defense is legit. I wish I would have pulled this up first. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So I want to just confirm. I should have pulled this up first, but I just want to confirm where he is defensively in defensive real plus minus, to see if he's still up there in the rankings. Even if he's not, I still know he's a great defender. I'm assuming he's listed as a small forward. Remember, centers are going to be really high on these lists. Okay, so he's not currently in the top 40. He's not exactly in a great situation either. Like, he hasn't really thrived in Minnesota. Interesting. Third page. Unless I'm missing it. This would be really interesting. Okay, I think I might have missed it. There's no way he's this low. No way. No way. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, I don't think he's actually this low. I really don't. Let's just check the first page again. Sometimes these guys get missed on the list. I remember Malcolm Brogdon wasn't showing up a couple of years ago. So it could just be an error or two by the website. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I didn't see his name anywhere, so that's kind of weird. But anyways, hey, if we look at previous year, I'm pretty sure he'll show up pretty close to the top. There, yep, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, he's number 12. See it? Right there, number 12. Minnesota Philly. Look at his defensive real plus minus. And that's him. Oh, so he is listed as a power forward. Interesting. Okay. So as a power forward, he's 3.52. Look at all the centers at the top of the list. And okay, and then you have Draymond Green, and then you have Giannis. He's right below Giannis by 1 point. By one freaking point. He's higher than Anthony Davis. That's insane. This guy is a hell of a defender. Let's look at the previous year. I'm pretty sure he's right at the top, too. Yep. Look at that. Number 3, defensive real plus minus. I think in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, he's been at the very top. So I don't know why he's not even on the list right now. I don't think he's lower than the 4th or 5th page. There's no way. There's no way. That's ridiculous. Yeah, I just think he got left off the list somehow, some way. That sometimes happens. But anyways, so where was it? Okay, so Zach Lowe had some interesting comments. You can read this article if you want on Fansided. But, he talks about the Bucks potentially going for these guys. Now, Rocco is a top-tier 3-and-D player in the league. And this is exactly the type of player that the Bucks should go after and need to upgrade the roster because they're not going to get another superstar. Maybe Chris Paul. I don't know. I'm not as high on the idea of giving away Bledsoe for Chris Paul. Chris Paul has some injuries. He's getting old. He's not always a great locker room fit. He'd be a great fit on the court with Giannis. There's no doubt about it. But he's got a huge contract. And Eric Bledsoe is still a very good player. And he just gets hammered with his, he's a little inconsistent. We know that. And he shrinks in the postseason a bit. But I'm not willing to just throw him away yet. I'm not. Okay? I believe that he can come through and destroy that narrative this year because I know he's a hardworking player, and sometimes, players go through that and they just need another chance. Kyle Lowry's done it. He played great in playoffs last year, but he's always been known to flop in the playoffs. So we'll see. I just don't know if Chris Paul is as big of an upgrade as everybody thinks. He's a really good fit, but Eric Bledsoe is an elite defensive player, and he's still a very good offensive player. And actually, he's way more efficient this year. And I have an article coming up on him and Chris Middleton, actually, coming up. They're both having outstanding seasons. Their efficiency is great. Their per 36 minutes are phenomenal. They're both averaging way less minutes than normal, or their minutes are around 27 a game. So they're not getting a ton of minutes, but I'm just not convinced that Chris Paul is a massive upgrade over Eric Bledsoe in order to take on his salary. But Zach Lowe's got some interesting comments in this article. I think you'll get it on. Oh yeah, I think I saw it on the Jump too. He made those comments on the Jump, but I agree with him. I think the Bucks will look at Rocco or JJ Redick. I like Rocco a lot better. Obviously, he's a way better defensive player, and I see him being a starter for the Bucks. Okay, replacing Wes Matthews, put him at the 3. Giannis at the 4, Chris Middleton at the 2. Now, Wes Matthews gets to come off the bench, and I think he'd be fine with that. Rocco is definitely a better player than Wes Matthews. I think that could really bolster the Bucks' starting 5. We would just be loaded with shooters and defenders, just even deeper. I think Rocco's maybe possibly the best player that we could acquire based on salary and everything, but a lot of these players just might cost too much in terms of assets. We do have a first-round pick next year, but, unless we're willing to give away like a DiVincenzo or a Sterling Brown or something like that, I mean, I just don't know if those guys are going to have enough value quite yet to package in. Now, if we were to make a deal like this, you'd have to give away Ersan Ilyasova. And no offense to the guy, he's actually really good. He's a very good basketball player. He's been with the Bucks a lot. And he's actually having a very solid season, as usual. But Rocco is a clear upgrade over Ersan Ilyasova. And if the Bucks are absolutely serious about contending with LA or LA, I do think one piece is going to be needed to be added. I think the Bucks are going to have to add one piece, and it's not going to come in the form of superstar player. You don't necessarily need that. You get a guy like Rocco who can defend LeBron or Kawhi or Paul George and lock these guys up. That would be huge. And just another guy who can hit open shots. He's not really a shot creator. He doesn't have like great handles or anything, but that's okay. Like, those guys are hard to find. You'd be looking at a guy like Drew Holiday, who's another option. There are other guys I like. I'm just trying to figure out who's actually realistic that we could acquire. Rocco's contract for next year, or right now, is like $11 million. Yeah, it's like $11 million. Here, let's find his. Okay, is this? Okay, yeah. So it's $11 million here. Salary info. No. Okay, spell track. There we go. I can't remember if he has. Okay, yeah. So he is. Okay. So right now. Okay, yeah. Okay, so he's actually on a good contract. This is why I like him so much. He's only owed $12 million next year and $13 million the year after that. We could have Covington for the rest of this year, 2 more years. Then he's UFA. I would love this deal. Robert Covington would be such a great fit on the Bucks, and he would be a starter. He'd be such a great fit on the Bucks. Can you imagine adding Robert Covington to the best defense in the league? And now our 3-point percentage is going way up. Like, this guy would be shooting probably close to 40% on threes because he would get more open looks than he's ever had. Let's look at his shooting stats real quick. Gosh, he'd be such a great fit. Like, this is the guy that they should go after. I love Rocco. Okay, so right now he's currently averaging 12.6 points a game, 5.4 rebounds, only assists a game. He's not really a facilitator. Good free throw shooting percentage, 87%. We could use that. We're horrible from the line this year. Horrible. We're almost like dead last. We're like 29th or something. And then 35%, that's gone down, but on 6 attempts, so that's really good. And not a great, not great from the field, but that's okay. He's just so isolated in what he's good at, and we could just use more of it. Like, that's what we do. Now, his Spur 36 numbers, because he's only averaging like 20. 28 minutes a game. Okay, per 36. Oops, not playoffs. So percentages don't change, but he would be doing 35% on 7.7 attempts. He'd be averaging 6.9 rebounds and 16 points a game. And now, none of those key numbers really change a whole lot. The key is that we know that he is a very good outside shooter. He'd be even better on the Bucks. I can see his percentage raising to 37, 38, maybe even as high as 40%. But I'll take 38% on like maybe 6 or 7 attempts a game, depending on how many minutes he actually gets. If he's averaging, close to 30 minutes, I seriously think he could. I think he would have to be the starter, and he'd have to take up a lot of minutes. He would get all of Ersan's minutes, and then he would take over Wes Matthews as the 5th starter on the Bucks, but play at the 3. And Middleton then moves back to the 2 like he used to be. So great fit, especially because defensively he's just a monster. The Bucks should seriously go after Rocco and pay the luxury tax. It wouldn't cost them that much more. I think Ersan's contract is like I think it's close. So let me look at it real quick. This video is getting a little long. Oh, that's right. It's not going to show it there. I don't know why. That's weird. Okay, so average salary is about $7,000. Now, would Minnesota give him up for Ersan? No, we'd have to give our first round pick. Okay, for next year. Would that be enough? I mean, Rocco might get better offers, or the Timberwolves might get better offers, but like a late first, it's going to be slotted around the 20th, I think. And Ersan, who has an expiring contract, I believe, next year, or it's a team option, they'd be dumping salary cap space, and they'd get a first round pick. And maybe the Bucks could include something else, maybe a future second or something. Or maybe they would have to give up another young player. I don't know, but I think this is actually, without looking too heavily into the details, I'm going to do that with an article coming up. I think there's a chance that we could pry him away. I think that John Horst could find a way. So he's the guy I want. Forget all these other guys. He's realistic, and he'd be a huge upgrade. So there we go. Peace out, Tiger.